This is Bacon, and Bacon is by far the most snuggly and the most social. And I think it's because when Bacon was a baby last year, Emmylou kind of claimed her, and Emmylou would snuggle her in the bed and on the couch, just spent so much time. And yeah, Bacon is a sweetheart. She's the one who jumps in my lap when I drink my coffee. Look at her. Oh my goodness. Hi, Bacon. Second most social would be Nugget. And also, Nugget is the tiniest. She's so tiny compared to the other ones when you pick her up. And she also is the one that I said in another video. She lays the tiniest egg. She's so cute. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm a little under the weather this week, but I'm gonna sing anyway with Emmylou and Jake because I really felt strongly about the message and the song going together this week. And we're approaching Easter, and I was thinking the message really does not an Easter message, but it was amazing how the Lord brought to my attention how it absolutely applies to Holy Week. So I'm excited. I went to an event for a friend's birthday over the weekend. It was a paint and worship party, and we all sat at a canvas, and there was a picture of Jesus and a sheep, and it's holding a little lamb. And we painted, and we shared what was going on in our lives, and we listened to worship music, and we prayed for each other. And what was interesting about my own painting that I surprised myself was I'm a person who likes a lot of color. I'm not a painter, but I'm gonna show you my painting because I enjoyed it. I like trying new things. I love being creative. And being creative is an emotive process. And so I felt like I must have just needed a calming moment. And also, I feel that when I sit in the presence of Jesus, it is always a calming moment. And you'll notice I painted my sheep black because I believe the Lord goes after the black sheep of the family. And sometimes I feel that way. And I just felt like the Lord was just, I saw myself in this, the Lord just holding me and making me feel calm. And I really enjoyed that. But as we were praying for a friend who was, she got pretty emotional because she's going through some hard things at home. And as we were praying for her, I felt so impressed with the story of the potter and the clay. It just came right into my mind almost out of nowhere, but I believe it was from the Lord. So I wanted to read just a very short passage from Jeremiah 18, at the potter's house. This is the word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord. Go down to the potter's house, and there I will give you my message. So I went down to the potter's house, and I saw him working at the wheel. But the pot he was shaping from the clay was marred in his hands. So the potter formed it into another pot, shaping it as seemed best to him. Now, in another translation that I read, I think it might have been the New Living Translation, it said he crushed the clay back into a ball and started all over again. Then the word of the Lord came to me, O house of Israel, can I not do with you as this potter does, declares the Lord? Like clay in the hand of the potter, so are you in my hand, O house of Israel. And I was thinking, I know a lot of these ladies that were at this party and what they're going through in their lives. And I did feel impressed to tell a friend that she's in a season right now, and I feel that the Lord is preparing her for something really awesome in the near future, and that she's being shaped right now by the potter. And I feel like there's a couple ways you can look at this. I think sometimes God's preparing you for something and he's molding your heart and getting you ready for it. And sometimes I think we just get out of shape and the Lord has to rework our hearts. And my dad used to talk about the potter and the clay when I was a kid, and he would say, make sure your heart is pliable because the Lord can't form hard clay. And I've never forgotten that. But I was just thinking about that, and I was thinking of how we're approaching Easter. This doesn't really go with Holy Week, but it does, because the best example of submitting to the Lord, allowing him to have his way in our lives, is Jesus. And Luke 22:42, let's see here. This is when he was praying on the Mount of Olives before he was crucified. And he said, Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done. It makes me emotional because thinking about Jesus, he was being obedient. And I just talked to the kids in kids ministry about this last week and the last 2 or 3 weeks preparing for Easter. Do you think the Lord wanted to die? Do you think the Lord was afraid? And we were talking about how Jesus was feeling, and he was obedient to the Father's will. Now, he knew the end of the story also, and he did it for us. And he knew that he would be victorious. But just thinking about also him teaching the Lord's Prayer, asking God's will to be done on earth as it is in heaven. He taught us to pray that way. He prayed that way himself. And I was just thinking, how do we submit to the Lord? We need to seek the Lord. And some people say, well, I've prayed and I've read and the Lord's never really spoken to me, but he has. This is the Lord speaking to us. He wrote this book for us. This is his word, his voice to us. And so I encourage you in that. The Lord has spoken to you, and sometimes he speaks in really miraculous ways. But I feel that when we spend time in prayer and we spend time in the word, the Lord starts speaking in our lives in a different way than we've ever experienced before. Kind of like I was saying I experienced at that party the other night. Be open to what the Lord has being different than what you might have thought. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. Proverbs 16:9. We've talked about that recently. And when we submit to the Lord, we're saying, I trust you. The Lord has never failed me, never once. Why would I not trust him now? He's not going to fail me now. So I just wanted to encourage you. Maybe you're going through a season where God is shaping you. I want to encourage you. Maybe you should just be expecting something awesome is coming. Maybe you should be asking the Lord, what are you teaching me in this? And I will say from my own experience, as my dad says, I'm not claiming, I'm aiming. My husband and I have been stretched more than we've ever been stretched in the last few years because we've been doing things we've never done before. We've had more responsibility we've never had before. We're parents. We're in the ministry. And it's a lot sometimes when you have a lot of tracks happening at one time and you're trying to balance, especially with the way that my brain works. I always tell people I'm a one-track person and I've never had more tracks than I do right now. But I trust that the Lord is shaping my heart, and I try my very best to stay pliable, to stay open, and to submit and to be obedient to what he has for me. So we're going to share a song that Jake mentioned that is just perfect. Have thine own way, Lord. And I know it's going to bless you because sweet Emmylou is singing with us. And Jake played our piano, which I don't think we've done before. This was given to us by two sisters in Nashville that said they weren't using it anymore. They called the church, First Baptist, where we were working, and they said, do y'all need a piano? And the lady that works in the office, she said, do you know anybody that needs a piano? And I said, yes, I want a piano. And so we were so blessed with this piano. I don't even play the piano. I'd like to learn, but Jake plays it, and I love hearing it played in the house. Emmylou's playing really well, so I hope it blesses you.
Have thine own way, Lord. Have thine own way. Thou art the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me after thy will, while I am waiting, yielded and still. Have thine own way, Lord. Have thine own way. Search me and try me, Master, today. Whiter than snow, Lord, wash me just now. Have thine own way, Lord. Have thine own way. Hold o'er my being, absolute sway. Fill with thy spirit, till all shall see Christ only, always living in me. Christ only, always